Hi, welcome to Global Impact. It's the virtual conference that's hosted by ISTE Community Leaders. I'm very honored and privileged and so excited to be a part of this conference and, more importantly, a part of this community. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you are going to enjoy the journey. My name is Dr. Maria Paradiso Testa. I am a doctor of educational leadership, and I'm very passionate about sharing the message today that I'll be bringing to you, titled Above and Beyond, Exceeding the Limitations and Expectations of the Status Quo. We're going to be discussing how, as educational leaders, we can not only inspire, but empower all those in the field of education to reach the place of their aspiration, their dreams, their maximum potential, and the next level that they need to be on this journey through education. The objectives today are that the learning environment and the goals of this presentation are going to provide strategies and resources. There's three components that I would really like to achieve in this presentation. First, it's that I would like to establish the classroom as a safe oasis for relationships. Secondly, to prepare the classroom as a laboratory with more than exposure, but access to multiple opportunities and experiences. And then lastly, monitoring and assessing the classroom as a proving ground for success. So when we talk about our classroom being a safe oasis for relationships, sometimes your classroom or your sphere of influence, whether it's in a meeting or a boardroom or outside the classroom, outside the four walls of the school building, your impact on the people that you are working with might be the only safe haven that they experience, not just in that year, but in their life. And so we have to cultivate those opportunities that would begin with trust and develop into relationships. We make the connection. We look for those opportunities to make those connections. And hopefully that's where the trust is going to be the foundational catapult to a sustainable relationship. Secondly, to prepare the classroom as a laboratory with more than exposure, but access. So many times we will explain, exposure. Oh, we'll show a video or we'll show something in a text. A textbook is only one source. It's only one tool. So when we say more than exposure, but access, sometimes that access is hands-on, project-based, bringing in a guest speaker, field trips, things that we're used to, but just touching the heart and the soul of the individual so that they make that connection back to step number one, a safe oasis for a relationship. They're open up to learn. And now we're going to give them something of value that they can, again, not only take from the textbook, but meaningful, relevant, apply to their lives. And then ongoing monitoring and assessing. So many times we'll have a great lesson plan or an idea or a thought, but we have to see as we go along how that's playing out and when we need to make modifications and adjustments. We want to have a proving ground for success so we can share those opportunities with other people. So the title of my presentation is Above and Beyond, Exceeding the Limitations and Expectations of the Status Quo. What is the status quo? When we think of the status quo, do we think of the terms average, normal, mediocre, bare minimum? I don't think those are characteristics that anyone aspires to, even past the pandemic, right? Coming out of COVID, everybody's looking for a new normal. I don't think most people want to have normal because I think they're more empowered when we see the uniqueness in them. And that's the piece that's going to help them thrive. And us being a part of identifying what that is and then giving the tools to each person, not telling them what to do, but giving them the tools that they need to move forward, to be more effective, productive, and to the next level of their performance. The way we can accomplish this, the way we can set the standards to be above and beyond, is when we have vision, innovation, and passion. So as educational leaders, many times we will have the thought, we are a VIP. We are a very important person. We are visionaries. We are innovators. And we are passionate and compassionate individuals who are placed in position in the lives of other people in education, whether it's our colleagues, whether it's a lateral or horizontal relationship. But we need to know that we understand vision, innovation, and passion, and that it is operating in our lives. Once we understand that and embrace it, we can pass that on to our colleagues, to our students, to the families, and to the communities. When we think of vision, vision has three components, and today I'm going to be discussing voice, visibility, and value. Voice is something that everyone needs. The teachers and the students need to have their voices heard. And in order for them to be heard, we need to listen, right? And not listen to respond, but listen to learn and to understand. And so our reflection piece is, we can't tell people stories. So we need to let them tell their stories. And how do we do that? We give that opportunity. We give them the opportunity to share their story, because in their story, we get to hear the uniqueness and the nuances that aren't in every textbook. So the untold story that they're going to share, it's going to set people free. It heals, it illuminates, and it gives insight to deeper understanding. And that's where we understand the beauty of the culture in diversity, equity, and inclusion. Everyone has a story to tell. The next piece is visibility. Teachers and students will experience victory when they are seen. And here's the reflection for this part. Think about the impact and discuss the statement, you can't be what you can't see. So there was a children's rights activist, and her name was Miriam Wright Edelman. And she coined that term, you can't be what you cannot see. So what does that mean to each of us? A lot of times students will see somebody, they would like to emulate the role, position, their characteristics, their traits. But if they don't see someone that looks like them or that they can relate to, it's very challenging to believe that you can achieve that status. So we have to put in front of people opportunities to see people that look like them. We have to include the diverse population that is out there. We have to bring that into the classroom so that we can empower our students. They need to see themselves in different roles and have those opportunities. And sometimes it's as simple as incorporating their families. Those students that are in our classrooms, if we invite their families in to share their stories, their heritage, their culture, their traditions, that just opens the windows and opens the eyes and the heart of learning to students who may not have experienced it. So it doesn't just help people who really haven't been seen before, but it helps the students who never saw something different than themselves. Something important about being visible, the extreme is being invisible. So if a student, or again, in reflection, think about yourself, has ever been left out, overlooked, ignored, rejected, sometimes that position is so hurtful, you want to be invisible. And that might be the posture that people carry themselves through. We want to be sure that everyone is seen and everyone is heard. There's different opportunities. We all look for them and we will find them. They're there. And value. The reflection here is adding value to someone else's life is about them. It's not what you can do. You have to do something in order for them to feel valued, but what they bring to the table, we need to be open-minded. So a lot of times, in order for somebody else to have the success and the victory, we have to step back and let them have the platform and whatever that is they might need to experience that area of growth. So this assures them that they matter. It supports their needs. It serves them. And honestly, this is the heart work, when people know that they are valued. And this is for students, for colleagues, for administrators, for families, for communities, reaching as far as globally, which this conference gives us the opportunity to spread this message worldwide. Innovation, the second part that I wanted to talk about. This includes intentional advocacy, initiatives, and inspiration. So when we talk about intentional advocates, a lot of times people will think that they're an advocate because they agree with something, or they like something, or they want to support something or someone. But in order to be intentional, we have to move from being aware to acceptance to action. And again, action sometimes is just the presence of giving comfort to somebody. But a lot of times the action might be giving those people the opportunity to have their voice heard, to be seen, and to know that they are valued. So all of these concepts run into each other, they work with each other, and they support each other. We have to be intentional about knowing that we are going to be there for them, and the students and the faculty and the families and community need to know the same about us. And if it's reciprocal, that's the ultimate goal. Initiatives. Sometimes initiative is something as simple as rewording a concept you already have in place. Instead of calling it a rule or a policy or a procedure, how about if we call it a 5-star classroom? Because when we think of 5-star, we think of a hotel, a resort, a vacation. 5-star classroom might replace the term classroom rules.
Here we go. We gonna show you how it goes. To the right, to the right, to the right, to the right, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the left. Now kick, now kick, now kick, now kick. Now walk it by yourself. Now walk it by yourself.
So if we were in person, I would ask everybody if you wanted to stand up and dance, but I'm just going to move on to the next slide and show you what my 5 stars are in my 5-star classroom. So the first is that it's a safe and effective student-centered learning environment. The second is that we incorporate culture, diversity, equity, and inclusivity on a daily basis. It's not a one-time conference, party, show, seminar. We live this every day. Thirdly, social emotional learning and development. So important that we have cognitive, psychomotor, and affective domains operating in the classroom. So for the students to feel safe and understand that their culture is valued, that's a big part of social emotional learning and development. And we sew into that, and we provide that environment and atmosphere. Fourth, partners in education. Partners in education are everybody that's in the building, everybody that's a part of the educational system, bus drivers, food service workers, custodial workers, administrators, teachers, paraprofessionals, special educators, counselors, family members, community members. These are all partners in education. Colleges, community colleges, universities, interns who come in and work with us, volunteers. All of these components are part of the research that shows the more people involved in the educational process, the greater the rate of success of the students. And academic rigor. Academic rigor is where we began in education so many years ago. And as time evolves and changes, so does the face of education. And while education is changing, people coming into the field have to get on board with what is needed now, right? So academic rigor, I made this little acronym for myself, MDB. M is for must, D is for do, B is for better. How do we do that? How do we achieve academic rigor? M, multiple intelligence. D, differentiated instruction. B, Bloom's taxonomy. When we incorporate these three strategies simultaneously, we are bringing students to higher level critical thinking. We are providing experiences where students are able to have hands-on activities, learn different ways, present their depth of understanding in different ways, and thrive in the field of education. So academic rigor balanced with the whole child development, that's where we need to go. And that's a part of my 5-star classroom. And you can think about how you would put your 5 key concepts into play. Inspire. This is where we're going to ignite the fire of the soul. And it's different for each person, just like different teaching and learning styles are, right? So the reflection here is that when we incorporate families and their traditions, their everyday lifestyles into the daily learning, that's one big way of engaging students, because they are seeing something they can relate to. And then they become empowered because they really feel like what we're doing, since it connects to them, gives them value. And when they feel valued, self-efficacy is raised. And that just makes a world of difference in how they're open to learning. So a quote that we have from a former professor of mine and colleague, Dr. George, he says, "Never underestimate the power of collective efficacy and a shared vision." When we all come together, share our passions, our ideas, our struggles, and our successes, we're then ready to take flight and soar to new heights and new levels and go where we've never gone before. And that's really a big piece of inspiring. It's what we can do together, what we can do together. Last part we're going to be talking about is passion. Passion includes purpose, being progressive, and people before programs. So I have this little quote on this slide, and it says, "It doesn't matter how slowly you go, as long as you keep going." It's important, right, to keep moving forward. Sometimes we have to stay still for a moment. Sometimes we just have to embrace where we are. Other times we take a step back. But the standing still and the stepping back are all setting us up to move forward. Purpose. This is our why. Everybody wonders, why did you come into this field? Some people are remaining in the field because they came into the field with the same reason. So most people enter the teaching profession because of passion. So I just want to take a minute and explain to you, there's 2 types of passion, right? Harmonious and obsessive. And they both are selected on purpose and for a purpose. Harmonious passion is, I love to do this. I'm so excited. I can't wait to be here. I have enjoyed the process, even when it's done. Reflection. I'm so happy about it. All good, positive. Obsessive is, I need to do it. I have to do it. Even though I love it, it's just draining. That's where the self-care comes in, and social emotional learning and development, self-regulation, where we need to reflect and decide, maybe at 3:00, I have to stop today. Other days, it's like, I can push, I can go until 5, I can go until 7. We've all had those moments, almost like a personal trainer in the physical realm, where they'll be saying, 1 more, do 10 more, keep going. Now balance that with listening to your own body and knowing when you need to rest. As I said, a slide a minute before, where are you posturing yourself? What position? Are you taking a step back? Are you staying right where you are? Are you embracing this moment? Or are we launching forward? And all of those are important. And ultimately, we will continue to move forward. But is your purpose enough to sustain you? So just like really quickly, let me share some teacher attrition statistics with you. 40 to 50% of teachers leave the field of education within the first 5 years. 1 out of every 5 leave in their first year. 70% higher that rate increases to for teachers who teach in school where there are more students of color. This is something we really need to consider. And the research shows these statistics. The data is the numbers that tells the story. And now that we know the story and we have these facts, we need to think about how we can make change for that. So people coming in, they're passionate. And how do we get people to have a sustainable journey in education? What can we do to make this journey more pleasant, more productive for all parties involved? Progressive. Times change and we have to change with the times. Some people stay because they're happy to combine the traditional with the innovative. And then also something like this, when you come to these conferences and they're global and we have the opportunity to learn from people around the world what works, what doesn't work, the struggles, the successes, the strategies in between all of those. I highly support professional development being turnkey so that while you're here, this is my part, presenting the information that I have experienced and researched and now sharing. The second part is that you bring this to your school, wherever you are employed, wherever you are working and collaborating with groups of people who are in the field of education or even business or life, and share this information. Make it meaningful and relevant to your situation, and then it's worth it. If you've invested time, if your district sends you, if they've invested money, it's all worth it to come back and say, thank you for offering this opportunity to me. Now I would just like to share it so that what has impacted me can hopefully do the same for others. And people before programs. We always hear that character education is what we expect from the students. And it is important. There's different pillars. It's respect, it's responsibility, it's trust. These are all things that we expect. However, let me just add this piece. Maslow before Bloom, the hierarchy of personal needs and social emotional learning and development and the whole child, these all need to be met before we can expect students to demonstrate the traits of character education. It's so important that we do what we need to do first to meet their needs and their interests. And then we expect these traits to be demonstrated in their lives, in the classroom, outside of the classroom, when they're having fun, when they're doing extracurricular activities. But there's a foundation and there's an order that should be incorporated. And partners in education, family, and community, these are all the people that we want them to be a part of the program because the program will help move us forward, but it's the people that need to be in the programs. So again, the partners in education, sometimes we need to meet their needs also before we can ask people to be supportive of the programs that we want to put in place. So in closing, I just wanted to remind you all that you deserve to be valued for the unique VIP that you are. And not only because of what you do, but most importantly, because of who you are. Okay? And that would just lead right into who you are should exceed the limitations and expectations of the status quo, far above and beyond any standard of measure. Thank you so much for sharing this journey. I hope that you enjoyed it and there's some things that you can take away and implement and apply to your learning environment. And again, my contact information is here if anybody would like to take a quick picture of it. My name is Dr. Marie Paradiso Testa. You can find me on LinkedIn and Twitter. Currently, I teach alternate route teachers at Brookdale Community College. And this has been an honor a privilege and a pleasure to join this conference and community. I would like to thank ISTE community leaders for hosting Global Impact, this virtual conference. And I wish all of you great success in the field of education in your lives. Have a great day. Bye.